Hi,
everybody. I'm Randy.
I'm Jamie.
And this week on the Weekly Wind Down, we are going to talk about the top 5 things to consider when planning your next Walt Disney World vacation. But first things first, since it is the Weekly Wind Down, let's do a little clink clink.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Clink, clink, clink.
Cheers to
Wonderful.
another Weekly Wind Down.
I know, 2 in a row.
Mhm.
Done so well. All right, so this one is a very important topic because Disney is overwhelming. It is. It even for like us trained professionals, are we? It's still a beast, and it's like no more of this like showing up at the park and buying a ticket and just winging it. It's
Right.
just not a thing anymore. You have to plan and plan and plan, and it can be, I don't know, it could be daunting.
Right. So we have kind of like our 5 top things that we do when we plan our own family vacations to Walt Disney World, and also when we help our clients plan their family vacations to Walt Disney World. So we're going to start off with the number one thing. It's probably one of the most important things to consider is your budget.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I get so many questions of like, I don't even know where to start for my budget. And that's kind of true because there's so many ways that time of year and, if there's a holiday
Variables,
party or something can
right?
really factor in and change the price point.
Exactly. So, we're going to talk just a little bit briefly about what times of year you can expect to spend the most money on your place to
Yes.
stay, most
Yes.
importantly, and your park tickets. And then what times of year you can kind of save some of that money by going during times that are not as crowded, so therefore not as expensive.
As crowded.
Yeah.
Well, it's
If that's a thing anymore.
I don't even know if it is. But yeah, obviously your most expensive times of year are going to be the holidays.
Mhm.
And coming in with the holidays, you have your Halloween, the Mickey's Not So Scary holiday parties. You also have the Christmas parties as well. And I will tell you, Christmas is the most expensive time, the
Mhm.
most expensive time to go.
The most
Halloween.
expensive time, right, and the most crowded time,
Oh,
anywhere between the week before Christmas to New Year's.
that's right. And so I would say Halloween, Christmas, if you can avoid the prime times, like the actual week of, then yes, please avoid that at all if you can. I understand sometimes you can't, school schedules, work schedules, and all that.
Mhm.
Other busy times, usually fall break. There's a lot of schools that will take off the same week. October tends to be fairly busy because of fall break.
Mhm.
Um, what else do we have? Spring break,
Spring break. So,
March,
from that March to late April time
April. Yeah.
period, and then also President's Day weekend, and
Yes.
anytime there is going to be a Run Disney event, it is going to be more pricey
Yes. And
and more
hard to
crowded.
get around.
Yes.
Yeah, because they close the roads. So let's talk about some of the cheaper times to go, or I guess more affordable times to go.
Right.
Surprisingly, summer is
Mhm.
a decent time to go. Yeah, it's hot
So
and
hot.
you're gonna hate life,
Unless
but
you're prepared,
you should prepare.
and we can get you prepared.
Yes. But no, it's you just have to be prepared for the heat.
Mhm,
But sometimes because of the heat, it's less crowded
mhm,
and you can get some really good deals. They were
mhm.
running a great special this summer. I want to say like 30, 35% off resorts. So like summer, they're trying to get people to come in the summer.
Mhm.
Another great
August
year. Yes,
August
August.
is a great time.
Hot, but
Um, we live in the South, so a lot of schools are already back in
Mhm.
session in the South, so August tends to be, um, less crowded. It is still very, very hot, so that's one thing to consider, but definitely less crowded,
Yeah.
therefore more availability, therefore, not as expensive.
Yeah, September is a great time to go, minus Labor Day weekend.
Mhm.
Um, but for the rest of the time, because everyone is in school in September, so it tends to kind of empty out We will be there in September. And so, but over a weekend. So we'll kind of test it out to see how that is.
Right.
Another
And
time we,
then January,
yes.
because you have that holiday rush, it's all done. Most people took their holiday vacation over Christmas and New Year's, and then January, everybody's trying to get back into the swing of things.
Mhm.
So that is a good time to go to Disney as well.
Beginning of February as well. But yes, if you feel like you do need to go see those holiday parties and everything, I would try to avoid the actual week of said holiday.
Mhm.
So if you can go at the beginning of October rather than towards the end of October,
Mhm.
you might have lighter crowds.
Right.
Or right now, I mean, the Halloween party's going on right now. So,
Right.
spooky season in August. Why not?
Yes. And the beginning of December too.
Yeah.
Same rules apply.
There's so many times. We'll have to make a list. But anyway, let us
Yes.
know. We
All
can do
right.
that.
So the second thing we help our clients with, and this is one of the major factors that we ourselves look at when we are planning our own family vacations, is resorts.
Mhm. There are so many resorts to choose from. And so it kind of starts in the value side of things. You can start in your most affordable. I want to say there are 5 different value resorts to choose from, and kind of across the board on different price points. So this is going to give you I think your better options to get something that's going to be a little bit more affordable. I will say it does feel motel-like because you're entering from the outside,
Mhm.
but that said, if you are only there to sleep, does it even matter, really?
Right.
Does it? You're on Disney property, you have
Mhm.
Disney's transportation, you're in the bubble.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, we both have stayed at value resorts, and
Mhm.
my trip has been perfectly fine.
Yes.
So
You have your food court option at value resorts, and then also tend to have the most pools, I think,
yeah,
than the other resorts.
pools too.
Mhm.
Yeah. The next option are the moderate resorts. Now, these resorts are going to be have a little bit more restaurants and dining and somewhat luxury than value. But at the end of the day, it's just it's kind of similar to value in the way that the rooms are laid out.
Mhm.
The rooms are a tiny bit bigger, but you do have that at all the value or all the moderate. Were we saying value for the moderate? But anyway, at the moderate resorts, you do have that luxury of having a actual sit down dining restaurant in
Mhm.
your resort,
Right.
unlike the food court at the value.
Yes, and then also depending on what moderate resort you're staying at, if you're staying at like Port Orleans, for example, you have that boat transportation to Disney Springs, or if you're staying at Caribbean Beach, you have the Skyliner transportation to Epcot and Hollywood Studios.
Yes, that to me is a game changer,
Mhm.
having that extra transportation. Also, Coronado, sleeper. That is a sleeper resort. Yes,
Yes.
the old part of Coronado is more moderate, but if you are staying in the tower,
Mhm.
that's deluxe level. You
Yes.
have multiple dining options. I don't know. We stayed there, and I felt
Mhm.
that I was staying at a deluxe.
Yeah.
So that is not one to sleep on.
No.
I really like that one. Then our
Right.
last
Deluxe
category,
deluxe amenities in the tower for that moderate price.
yeah, our last category is deluxe. And the deluxe category, I mean, there's no beating it. I love staying at a deluxe.
Right.
Hey, I don't know. It's just there's something so different about it, and I don't know.
You just
It's
also cannot beat being most of the deluxe resorts being able to walk into a park, not
yes.
having to use bus transportation, but actually walk into a park,
Hmm.
depending on which deluxe you're staying at. But you have tons of food options, quick service and table service restaurants at deluxes. They're all themed just so perfectly.
Yeah.
And they always have something special going on throughout the year.
Yeah, and you do tend to have more, like we were saying, the transportation options. I mean, um, we have, like we were talking about with having Skyliner, and of course, everyone has the bus access. You have the Skyliner access, and you also have the monorail resorts.
Mhm.
So that one is a sorry, I was trying to find a video of that one, but somewhere. That one, I know I made it, but that like you have your monorail resorts where you're along the monorail, and then it can take you to Magic Kingdom, and can also take you to Epcot. Your Skyliner resorts can take you to Hollywood Studios and take you to Epcot, and then of course the buses can take you
Mhm.
everywhere.
And then you
So
also have the boat transportation
mhm,
to Magic Kingdom from all the monorail resorts and from any resort along the boardwalk and from the Wilderness Lodge. So
right.
um,
I
I
mean,
love a boat.
that is true. It tends to be less crowded, a little bit more peaceful.
Mhm.
Another bonus for deluxe resorts is that right now, Magic Kingdom and Epcot, they're having extra hours, extra kind of bonus hours for deluxe guests, where you can stay after the park closes on certain days, on Mondays and Wednesdays, and that's kind of fun because you can. Let's say you didn't get to ride like one main ride that day, and your family really wanted to, and so that's kind of an opportunity to take that, and
Mhm.
not other no other resort category will allow you to do that, so that's kind of a perk too.
Yes. So when planning your Disney vacation, so budget number one, number two, resort, and those definitely go hand in
Mhm.
hand. The
They do.
time of year, but then also the resort category you and your family like to stay in. So number three to consider is your park days. How many park days you want. So
Mhm.
that will determine how long of a ticket to have. And then
Mhm.
also, do you want to have rest or resort days? So that is one thing to definitely consider when you're planning a Disney vacation.
Right, and I mean, yes, there are 4 parks, but I tend to give Magic Kingdom a 2-day. I call that a 2-day park because there
Mhm.
is so much to do, especially, I guess, depending on the ages of your kiddos, or yourself. You can have adult trips. Those are a thing. But, yeah, or do you wanna just hit all 4 parks? Do you want to hit, just a couple? Do you want to have multiple days at multiple parks? You
Mhm.
kinda have to really think about what is, more important to you and your family. I definitely say allow yourself a rest day in there.
Mhm.
Even seasoned veterans of Disney get
Yeah.
tired. I mean, man, it takes a lot out of you walking around, standing on your feet all day long, and
Mhm.
just the overstimulation. You kind of need to have some downtime. So allow yourself that. Give yourself, a pool day, even if it's
Yes.
cold out. Give yourself
And
a
take
resort.
advantage of that resort that you're staying at.
Mhm.
Take advantage of the amenities at the resort and really soak it all in because the resorts are what makes Disney so special too.
Yeah, 100%. And if you're staying at a value, use that resort day to go explore a deluxe resort. I mean, just because you're not staying there means you can't eat there or hang out
Yes.
there. You can't use the pool.
Right.
Don't be that person. Don't break the rules. But you can go and hang out and enjoy the resort itself and all that it has to offer, minus the pool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So speaking of dining, our number four thing to consider, or our fourth thing to consider rather, is where do you want to eat?
That's right. There are so many options, so many options. Too many options, really. Do you want sit down dining? Are you more of a table service? Table service dining. Do you rather quick service? Do you just want to snack all day? Do you want to bring your own food into the parks? I mean, there's
Mhm,
all kinds of different options. But if you are wanting to have some rest time, a proper sit down meal where they come, that table service means basically like a regular restaurant where you go in, someone comes and serves you, and not where you're ordering at the front.
right. And you
So
have
yeah.
to make dining reservations for a table service restaurant 60 days in advance,
Mhm.
especially for those more hard to get
Yes.
dining reservations. Make sure you're making those. And so that's why we say plan out your dining. As crazy as that sounds, if
Oh
you
yeah.
are, you know, 2 months plus out and you're trying to think about where do I want to eat. But it is important when
Yeah.
you are planning because some of those restaurants, the reservations just fill up. And if you don't have a reservation at that 60-day mark, you may never get one.
It's true. And yes, no one's asking you, you need to decide what to eat. This isn't a wedding that you're picking, if you're going to have steak or seafood, a year in advance. So it's more so locking in to have the what am I trying to say? I almost said experiment. That's not the word. To have the experience at
Uh-huh.
that location. So that's kind of like Space 220. You're really going for that atmosphere.
Mhm.
Same with like all the character dining. You're
Mhm.
going to have a meal where the characters are going to be. So
Yes.
very rarely at Disney you're going to go for the food. Now, when we got one subject, we'll get into snacks, not tonight, but a different time. That's when you're going for the food. You're getting snacks and stuff, but that's not what this is. This is more of going for the experience of the
Mhm.
restaurant, the
Right.
atmosphere, and giving yourself some time. I really like to go and sit and just chill for a little bit,
Mhm.
especially in the middle of
Yes.
the day.
Yes.
And
And especially if you are going during the summer. I know we talked a lot about going during the summer because especially if your budget doesn't allow you to go during a major school break like Thanksgiving or Christmas,
right.
um, you do want to get out of the heat for a little bit, and the table service restaurant is definitely worth it to me.
Definitely the way to go. I agree. And I tried to tell clients at least maybe plan for one a day, one table service a day,
Yes.
one nicer meal, and then the other one a quick service. Um, just because you want to give yourself that time. Also, it's not set in stone. You can cancel. You can cancel up to 2 hours prior to your
Mhm.
reservation. So if something happens and you don't want to, no big deal. You
Mhm.
just cancel it. But
Yeah.
it's nice to have it just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Um, so we had considering your budget,
Hmm.
considering where you want to stay, your resort, which goes hand in hand with your budget,
Right.
how many days you'd like to spend in the park, and
Hmm.
then what dining you would like to think about getting ahead of time.
My thing.
So our last, our last point is your final preparations.
Yes. There are so many other little small details that people don't think about. One of the things is right now, since they have the multi-pass system, you need to plan ahead. I know it's crazy, but you need to plan ahead. Rides, attractions that you may want to ride 7 days out of your trip,
Mhm.
but you can book those ahead of time. You can book 3 per day, to hold that spot ahead of time. And I think it's kind of a game changer. It brings us back to the old school fast pass. And it's kind of nice because you are securing these rides for your day. But that said, you kind of need to know which ones you want to do because those go fast. And you
Mhm.
want to make sure you snag Slinky Dog and you slept. Oh, he showed up right when I said that. And then um, Tiana's Bayou Adventure right now. Some of these hot items, these hot attractions, you need to get ahead of time.
Mhm. Right.
So that's something that you will be able to do if you're staying on site. That you'll be doing 7 days prior to your check-in day. If
Mhm.
you're staying off property, then that is 3 days prior. So
Yes, per day. So
per
if
day,
you yeah, if for some reason you are staying off-site, but you have a 4-day ticket, that 3-day countdown,
is like, yeah,
yeah, like it
redoes it.
restarts.
Yeah.
Yes,
If you were staying on property,
you can
seven
make it
days, you could book for the whole trip.
exactly.
Another perk of staying on property.
Yes,
So,
another, reason to plan to stay on property is part of your budget.
maybe we should do one on that, on property versus off property. I have a lot of
Yes,
opinions on that. I have a lot of
yes.
people say, "Well, I can save so much money." And we're like,
No, don't
"Sure,
do it. Don't
but"
do it.
I know,
Don't do it.
can, but yeah.
Yes.
What are
Okay.
you gonna do in the yeah, well, that's a whole nother topic. We can go on
Um, and then when you are making your final preparation, Disney, like Jamie said at the beginning, it's a beast. But don't feel like you have to do everything.
yeah.
I think, we go to Disney so much, and every time I go back, there are things that I have never done before. And
Yeah.
as wild as that is, there are definitely things that I still have not experienced. I know when we go in September, we have a really cool thing that neither one of us have done. I'm so excited. More on that later. That's a little teaser. But so excited for that. So you can't do it all. So give yourself grace.
Yeah.
Um, be patient with yourself and your travel party, but come up with kind of an idea
Yeah.
ahead of time. Like, what are your must do's? What
Yes.
are your, well, if there's time, if the line's not long, and then what are like, no, we're just going to skip that.
Yeah.
For
I
my
always call
family,
those
we
I call those
always
accident
say,
oh, go ahead, sorry.
no, sorry.
I said we call those ax it or trax it. So,
Oh,
are you gonna cut it, ax it, or you're gonna trax it, like play the track? So, yeah.
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 For my family, we have 4 of us, so it's, everybody gets to pick their must-do ride for each park, and then I always tell my kids if we don't get to do the other things, it's okay.
It's fine.
Um, you did your must-do, so
There's other times, I mean, I understand sometimes this is a one and done for families. So I think that is another reason why having a travel planner help you with this and
mhm,
kind of direct you in the right way to make sure the trip is everything you want it to be and you dreamed
mhm,
it to be. So yeah, I definitely think that I mean, I yeah, I think even if you are a expert at Disney, sometimes having a travel planner helps because it changes like we just saw last week. Like
mhm,
everything's changing and
yes,
everyone's going to have to learn a whole new system of things. And we are constantly learning these. I mean, literally constantly. How many
mhm,
texts back and forth of going, oh my gosh, did you hear this? Did you see
right,
this? So yeah, so many things. Also, little things that you haven't thought about, maybe like a stroller rental.
mhm,
Do you need a stroller? Do you
mhm,
need a stroller for your 10-year-old child? Yeah, you
yes.
do.
Yeah, you do.
You do.
Believe us,
Yeah.
you do.
Sure, they haven't ridden in a stroller since they were, 2. But I will tell you this from experience,
Mhm.
I'm a fast walker. Any of our friends can tell you, like, I don't know why I just walk as if I am, I saw it in the Olympics, I'm gonna start training because, like, I could do that. But I just am always in a hurry, and I don't know why
Mhm.
when I'm not. But my kid can't keep up with that, nor should she. I mean, I could probably put Randy in a stroller with and take her with me. But no, I think you have to think about being on your feet for hours upon
Mhm.
hours and then so many steps, and your kid just can't deal with that, nor do you want to listen to them complain
Right,
about their feet hurting.
right.
So, I don't know.
Yes.
Also, oh, another reason why we use a stroller, it holds your stuff.
Yeah, well, I was about to say another reason we use a stroller is to hold all of the things we buy.
Yes, it's a shopping cart.
Yeah.
It's a drink holder
Uh-huh.
and a shopping cart. It's
Exactly.
basically the Target, trolley. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's
And
100%.
my Ryobi fan holder during the summer. I
Yeah,
can clip them on, and if I didn't have a stroller, I wouldn't be able to bring my massive fans.
I know. I will say this, like, Randy and I will be there without our kids in September, and my thought was, "Ah, I have to carry my bag?"
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm a little bummed about that.
Right.
I have to keep up with it. I can't just
Yes.
keep it here. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I know. It's silly. I promise. It sounds ridiculous of getting a grown kid in a stroller, but
Mhm.
I don't know. If you haven't tried it,
Don't knock it till you try it.
100%. Another
And
thing is transportation, right?
yes,
I think you were getting into that.
yes. So a lot of times I do drive because we live outside of Atlanta, so it's an easy drive. But I
Mhm.
know you fly a lot of times.
I do.
I
As
mean,
a
you drive
family,
sometimes, but
yeah.
you do fly as well. And sometimes, like when I'm meeting you in September, we are flying. We're both flying, and so thinking about how you're going to get from the airport to your Disney resort is something to consider during your last final preparation.
That's right. And so there are different ways to do that. There's the Mirrors Connect that used to be kind of in relation to Disney. Now it's not, whatever, you can still book it. That it's not free like it used to or
Mhm.
included in your, that's a bummer. but it's still there and you can still have. I recommend that for families with littles,
Mhm.
maybe ones that you might need a car seat for, because that's an option to not have to worry about having one, because once you're on property, you're doing all Disney transportation, so you won't need a car seat or have to worry about that getting from place to place. So I highly recommend the bus service from the airport, the Mirrors. But if you have a smaller family or adults only, or even like grown children, we Uber or Lyft just
Mhm.
purely out of convenience. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's more affordable. Like,
Yeah.
really, if you think about it, it's like
Right.
$50 usually from the
Mhm.
airport. Not too
Yeah.
bad.
Mhm.
So there's other ways. I think there's several private transportations as well that you can
Mhm.
rent, but for those are usually the most popular too. So
Yes.
you're going to pay about the same, mm, give or take. I guess it depends how big your party is, but they end up kind of being close to the same cost.
Mhm. Um, and then, of course, packing, which,
You probably already started, right?
yes, I have.
I still haven't
Um,
unpacked from our trip in June. It's still in the other room, so I should just close that suitcase and come.
right. So packing, of course, that's one of the last things that you do as your final prep for Disney. And next week,
That's
next
right.
week,
I
we are
think we
going to do,
yeah. I
yeah,
think is that where we're gonna do packing for fall or packing
yes, we're
for
gonna.
general? Yeah.
I think we'll talk about in general, but the fall. I mean, it's still hot,
Yeah,
so
it's hot. I
we're
guess
gonna
some of
kind of
the
go.
summer items can flow
Oh,
well.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Fall
on.
in Orlando is kinda confusing because there
Mhm,
are some cool nights, and then there's, like, really hot days. Yeah, it gets a little confusing, but
right.
we'll get into that.
So next week on the weekly wind down, we will get into more of the packing as like your final prep for Disney. So we had budget, things to
Mhm.
consider, budget first and foremost.
Yes.
Um, what resort you want to stay,
Mhm.
which goes hand in hand with budget. And then how many park days that you want,
Yes.
which also goes hand in hand with
Very
budget.
budget. It all circles back to
It
budget.
all circles back to your money.
Yeah.
And then your dining, if you do want to book those table service restaurants, those reservations 60 days in advance. And then that final prep, how are you getting to the airport if you're flying? Or what are you going to do about stroller rental? Are you going to bring your own or are you going to rent one?
Right.
And just kind of, are we going to do multi pass? What do we
Yeah.
want to book ahead of time? So, all of that definitely important to consider while you're preparing for your most magical vacation in the world.
Magical place on earth. But we cannot stress enough how important it is to have someone help you through this process.
Mhm,
Us as travel advisors are completely free to
mhm,
you, as most are. I know everyone in our company is. Um, but yes, honestly, if you are if in need of someone, there are so many people that can help you make this trip perfect. And I definitely recommend reaching out to someone who's experienced in Disney, because it's so changing constantly, and
yes,
it's it is a beast. It really is. We have agents that are really like, some are more focused on all inclusives, and they reach out to some of us Disney people who have just that brain, because they're like, I need some help because this has changed. Help me,
right,
walk me through this. So
right.
that's the thing. There are so many advisors that you can pick from, and for Disney, I feel like you need to focus with someone, hook up
Mhm.
with someone that's not hook up with someone. That's weird. Cut that out.
Connect with somebody.
Connect with someone. Gosh, how do we turn this off? Connect with someone who is, I don't know, I guess it has the knowledge of Disney.
Right, and they can walk you through all of the planning from, like, your first, like, "Hey, I think I wanna go to Disney," all the way through the end of your trip.
Yeah, yeah, and to all the people who think that Harry Potter land is at Disney, it is not. So you heard it here, guys. You heard it here
Yep.
first.
Yes.
Different
It's
story.
not at Hollywood Studios.
No, it is not. No,
It's at Universal Studios, part of it, but
whole nother thing.
yes.
Whole other thing. That's another video where Randy will educate me on Universal Studios.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, anyway, we digress. Cannot stress enough how important it is to plan for Disney.
Mhm.
So no more rocking up last minute. Don't do
No,
it.
don't do it. You're
Mm-mm.
gonna make yourself miserable and everybody else in your travel party. I mean, it can be done. It's not like impossible.
Yeah.
But I always see those people and I'm always like, they have the map out, they're yelling at the people that they're with. So it can be done. It's just like I don't know what kind of experience they're going to have.
Not the most magical one. Yeah. Mm-mm. No.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, next week, like we said, we're going to be talking about packing. So I know that some people might think that might be silly, but it is not, because there are a lot of essentials that really help your trip. I don't know, make it successful.
Right. And we'll be showing you some of our favorite things to pack in
Yes.
when we're getting ready to go to Walt Disney World. And we are just so grateful that you tuned in to our second weekly wind down.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week. Make sure you like our video and subscribe to our channel. Yes, all the things.
Okay,
And we appreciate you. Until next time.
All right. We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye.